Hello friends, welcome to the Technocrate Automation Lab. In previous session, we have seen the locators, and with the help of locators, we were trying to identify the elements of application. So we have covered ID, name, class, link text and partial link text. So there are different locators that we have used. The one very important locator is XPath that is left and that I'm going to cover in today's session. Guys, XPath is very important. Why? Because in most of the cases, these ID and names are not easily available. And if they are easily available, still if there are frequent deployment on your application, so there are might be possibility that your ID or your locators like ID and name got changed. So in such cases, the best way is to use XPath. So there are some tricks to use XPath, how to design XPaths that we are going to see in today's session. So this will be the agenda for today. We are going to see the types of XPath, difference between absolute and relative XPaths, basic XPaths and their methods, how to create customized XPaths, and how to uniquely identify the elements of any web application. Fine. So, firstly, I'll start my session with telling that what is the difference between relative and absolute XPath. So, guys, see, if I go to the application and this is my Amazon page, I'll just inspect this. Okay, this is the Amazon page where user can go and create their account, and this is the HTML page, the backend page of this Amazon. So if I'm using the absolute XPath, okay, I'm talking about the absolute XPath now. So in absolute XPath, it starts with single slash. What does that mean? It means that the particular element is going to be searched from the root node. This is the root node, HTML. So it is going to search that particular element from here. So it will take time, right? And apart from this, the main the main drawback is it search like this scripts. Inside that there are div element, div. So this will be the hierarchy. But if the particular div element got deleted, okay, then the entire hierarchy will broke. So that is the drawback of using absolute XPath. Now I'll come to the relative XPaths. What is relative XPath? In relative XPath, it starts with double slash, means it is telling that this element can be searched from anywhere on the page based on the tags that is defined here. Okay, suppose if I'm giving the tag as A, okay, right, I'll see the example, right. So if I'm giving the tag as double slash A, okay, so it will search a particular element with A tag and it can search from anywhere on the page. So it is fast. Along with that, there are no dependency if the particular chain is broke, like we have seen in the relative XPath. So if this particular div element is broke or it is nowhere exist in that particular application or backend page, there won't be any issue with the relative XPaths. That's why the recommended way is to using the relative XPath only. Fine. Now we are going to see how to design relative XPaths. Fine. Just simple click a control find. Okay, now here you can write your XPath, and in web page only you can identify with the XPath how many elements it is going to search or it is going to identify. Fine. We are going to see our first XPath. That those are the basic XPath, simple one. So the simple syntax of basic XPaths are like double slash, the tag name. Tag name can be anything. It can be it can be text, it can be input, anything. Fine, you can define anything over here. Along with that, inside this, you have to define the attribute name. Attribute name means like some examples are given here. ID, value, class, whatever is available for that particular element. You can define that attribute name, that ID as an attribute name and the particular value of this. So we'll go to the application and we'll see how to customize a particular XPath. See, for this element, this is the text where user need to enter the username. Okay, your name while creating the account. I want the XPath of this particular element. I'll just go and inspect this. Okay, so for this, the ID and name is already available, but as we are going to see, we are going to learn the XPath. So I'll tell you how to create XPath instead of using ID and name directly. Simple double slash. Okay, now you can see this is the input tag, right? So you have to define the tag name as input. Inside double brackets, sorry, this brackets. Okay, now you can define the type as text. Okay, inside as an attribute, you can define the name as an attribute, or you can define the ID as an attribute. So now we have to identify which element, which attribute we should select for designing the XPath. Right, if you can see, the type is equal to text, so there are so many fields. So if I define the type as text, there will be so many elements. I'll just go and define simple @type is equal to text. Okay, so this is input, this is my tag name, type is my attribute name, and this is the value of that particular attribute. Fine. So okay, this is only identifying one element. You can see one of one. When I'm writing this XPath, it is identifying only one element, and this is the same element that we are looking for. Fine. So we can define in this way. Along with that, if I want to use name attribute instead of type, what is the value of type? What is the value of name attribute? That is the customer name. Okay, it is also defining. Right, if I want to define the attribute name as an ID, what I'll do, I'll just go and copy the ID. This is my ID, and as my attribute name is should be ID. Fine. Now we have identified our XPath. What I'm going to do? So let's take it as name. As of now, customer name, and it should be customer name. It is identifying one of one. Simple. I'll just take this. What you need to do, just go to your Selenium script and you need to write driver.findElement by.xpath, and inside that XPath double strings, you just need to copy that. Okay, that is the simple way of using XPath in Selenium scripts. Fine. I'll just open one notepad and I'll write all the XPaths that we have seen just now. So this is the basic XPath that we have seen, the simple tag name, attribute name, and their value. And you can use anyone, any tag like a, image, button, any tag you can use. Or if you're not aware about the tag name, so in my case, I know that this is the input tag, but we are not sure that for some particular cases, we are not sure that which tag it is. So you can simply write star. Okay, if you're not aware about the tag name. Fine. So we'll see other elements as well. See, this is my input. This is also input. This is also okay. Fine. So this is the input element of email. Fine. That I want to identify. Right. What I write? Simple input. Fine. Now, what is the name? What is the name over here? The name is email. Attribute is name, and the value of that attribute is email. Fine, it is identifying one of one, simple, the element, the same element that we wanted. Fine, I'll just copy this as well. Or you can write, instead of input, we can define star here. Cool. So, okay, now the next XPath. See, what are the challenges we have defining the simple XPath? Now you can see the name attribute, the value of name attribute is customer name. So there might be case, okay, after deployment, they change this customer name as first name, or it will be only name. We know that this is the name field, so name will be there, but that is keep changing. Sometimes it is your name, sometimes it is customer name, sometimes it is first name. So what we do, how to handle such situation in Selenium? So we have one methods, or we have there are some other methods as well, but the one method is that is contains. So how contains work? Simple. Okay, it is used when the value of any attribute changes dynamically, right? That we have just seen. Name value is keep changing. So in such cases, we can use contains keyword. So what it will do, in our case, what it is doing, it is searching a particular element based on the name value that we are giving. But if it is changing, then we need one keyword or one function. So if a particular value contains name keyword, then also it should search, or then it should identify that element. That's why we have this contains keyword. Okay, so we'll go and create our XPath by helping of contains keyword. Fine. double slash. We know the tag name is input. Okay. Now I have written contains. After that, brackets, and here you need to define your attribute. Just like this. See the syntax. Your attribute and value. So what is the attribute here? I am taking the attribute A as @name. Then comma, not equals to. That you have to remember. And I want to give the value A as name. Fine. Now this should be capital. Right. It is identifying the element. So in future, if the value of this particular element is got changed, okay, in that case also this particular XPath will locate this element. So there won't be any error or any exception in future. Okay, so we should design our XPath in such a way that it can be used in future as well. So if there would be any deployment or any changes on the backend side, your XPath should work. Your script doesn't fail because of XPath. Okay. Here in case of name, you can use any attribute. You can use type, you can use class. So it depends on totally you that what attribute you want to use. And if you're not aware about the particular tag name, you can use star. Simple. Fine. And it is by looking at here, you can identify that how many elements it is identifying by giving this XPath. Fine. Okay, I'll move to the next one, that is text. Okay, so we have three methods provided by XPath. The one we have just seen, that is contains. Apart from that, there are two other methods that is text and starts with. So what text method does? Okay, in text method, suppose in such case, for the contains we have used where we are not sure about the particular element. Okay, the value is keep changing. Okay, but the text that is going to be visible on the application, that is same. Okay, that is not going to be changed. In such cases, we can directly use text and their value. How we are going to see that? Go to Google. I'll just copy this XPath in Notepad. Okay, now we are going to see the text. Okay, how we are going to use that? Simple. Suppose I want to click on this privacy notice. Okay, this is one link and I want to click on that. So for clicking on this particular element or object, I need the XPath of this. I need the locator. What I'll do, I'll just go to this. Now this is the page. So simple, either I can use the link text that we have seen in last session, or we have one method, that is text. Simple text equals to, what is the value of this particular element? The value is privacy notice. Just copy this, write this and see. This is identifying the particular element with the help of text keyword. We know, but you should use text method only in that case that you are sure that the particular keyword or particular value of that application is not going to change. This is the text that is visible on the application and you are sure that this is not going to be changed, you can directly use text method. Fine. Now I'll just copy this. Okay, guys, you have to remember the syntax. Like whenever we are using the basic XPath, we are giving the tag and is equal to the particular value. But when I'm using the contains, right, I'm not using the equal keywords. We have to use comma in such cases. So that syntax you have to remember, that whenever I'm using the contains method, what should I use? In case of text, what should I use? Okay, these are the simple methods or syntax. Fine. So we have seen the contains text and the remaining one is starts with. So what in starts with happen actually? See, simple example is written here. My ID of that particular element is message12, but it is changing dynamically. And what is happening? Sometimes it is 12, sometimes the AND number is 345, sometimes it is 88769. Means it is keep changing, but the keyword that is not changing is the string. message, the particular message with this starts with. Fine. So in such cases, we can use starts with method. In the same way, the way we have used the contains tag name. In case of contains, it will be starts with the particular attribute and their value. Fine. So in such cases, wherever you think that the starting keyword of your tag of your attribute is not going to be changed, in such cases you can use starts with method. Fine. So guys, these are the methods that we have seen. Along with that, there is one more expression, that is or and AND. How we are going to use that? See, I'll go to the application and I'll see you in what cases we should use. Simple, I'm going here and I'm looking for the locator of this password. Fine. What it is saying, simple, the type is equal to password. Okay, suppose see if I'm going to use this as what I'm using @ type is equal to password. Fine. This is the password. But see, it is identifying two elements, one of two. Okay. The first one is this one that we have selected. The second one, it is also identifying this particular element as well. Okay. You can see first one is this and second one is this. Now, what to do in such cases? Simple, you have to define some differences. What are the differences available for these two elements? See, the first one is it is saying the type is password and the name is password. Okay. For the second element, it is saying the type is password but the name is password check. So we can take a help of this particular method. What we can do, we can write type as password and @ name is equal to password. Now it is identifying the one element, the first element that we wanted. So you can use AND operator wherever you want to define two conditions, that whenever these two condition matches, only in that case find that particular element. Fine. So we can use AND in such kind of conditions. Now we have one more expression, that is OR. So how to define? Suppose you're not sure about your XPath that I just said. Suppose this is your name. Okay, the XPath of your name is this, ID and name. But sometimes you're not sure that whether I should select by ID or by name. So what you can do, you can define both the things. If it found the first one, it will match, or if not found, then it will go for the second one. How? Simple, right? ID is equal to, what is the ID over here? ID is this. Or you can take the text. Instead of ID, we'll take text. Fine. Now I have defined my first condition. If it found the particular type is text, then the particular element should be identified. Or if it is not able to identify with this keyword, go for the second option that I want to provide. So I am providing the second option as @ name is equal to customer name. Okay. Now it is identifying this first element. So what I am doing here, I am telling my script to identify the element based on these conditions. If you found the element with the help of these, fair enough. If not, then go for the second one. So we are just giving the OR condition. Okay. And if I want to select a particular element based on the multiple conditions, in such cases we can use AND expression. Okay. I'll just write this, copy this, and I'll go to Notepad and I'll write this. So we have seen this. Along with this we have seen one more trick, that is AND. Right. So guys, we have seen a very simple examples of XPath, how to create customize XPath. the basic XPath with the help of contains keyword, with the help of text, and with the help of starts with as well. Okay, and with the help of or and end, wherever you want to put some condition on your XPath. And if you're not sure how to use in scripts, just simple copy the expression that you have written, okay, and go to your Eclipse and just paste it inside the string. That only you have to do. Okay, that is the only thing that you need to do. Just copy that and paste it on your Selenium code. Fine. So guys, if you're finding that particular things are little complex, so you'll have to do the practice of this. Once you do the enough practice, now you will become expert or will become a master on these XPath creation, and that is very very important to become a expert in Selenium's XPath, because that is the only thing that you have to learn and you have to do the practice, because the other remaining things of Selenium are ready-made, means the classes and methods are already available. You only have to understand that to at which particular scenario what methods I need to use of Selenium, that is already provided. But this is the part that you have to do the practice, because you are going to create it, you are going to customize it. And if you're not going to give a good locator or a locator that is going to identify your element uniquely, so there your script will never work. Or suppose if it is working today, but there might be case or there might happens that it won't work in future. So that is the very very important part. Apart from this, there are some other XPaths as well, which we are using to find the dynamic elements, means the elements which are changing run times. Suppose if I'm taking the example of Amazon, so there are some multiple products and on day by day the products are changing. So how to handle such situations, how to handle the XPath, or how to create the XPaths of such elements, that we are going to see in the next session, which will be on the dynamic XPath. So till that time, just do the practice of these basic XPaths, and if you have any doubts, any queries, just write us on the email ID which is given below. Fine. Okay guys, that's it for today. If you have any doubts, just reach out to us. Thank you. Bye bye.